All right, you degenerates, welcome back to the deep dive. You know how everyone loves to jerk off over those stuffy old universities?
Yeah.
Oxford, Cambridge, the whole goddamn Ivy League circle jerk. Well, today we're diving headfirst into one of those supposed bastions of knowledge, King's College London. And let's cut the crap. We're going to rip this fucker apart and see what makes it tick.
King's College London is definitely a fascinating institution with a history that's as messy and complicated as any other.
Damn right. And we've got a mountain of sources to wade through, Wikipedia articles, historical records, all that shit. Our mission, if we choose to accept it, is to dissect this beast.
Yeah.
From its dramatic birth to its modern-day behemoth status.
From religious pissing contests and actual duels, to groundbreaking scientific discoveries and a surprisingly diverse alumni list, King's has seen some shit.
All right, let's rewind the clock back to 1829. The year King's College London was shit out into existence. Now here's where it gets juicy. King's wasn't just some random addition to the academic landscape. It was a direct and, might I say, pissed-off response to another London university that was causing a stir. University College, London.
UCL was considered pretty radical for its time. Founded on secular principles and open to students regardless of their religious background, it quickly earned the nickname the Godless College in Gower Street. This obviously didn't sit well with the conservative and religious establishment.
Yeah, those uptight assholes were shitting bricks over the idea of a university that didn't shove Jesus down your throat with every lecture. So King George V, along with a bunch of Tory bigwigs in the Anglican Church, decided to create their own God-fearing alternative.
Essentially, they saw UCL as a threat to the established order and wanted to create an institution that upheld traditional values.
And of course, the drama didn't stop there. This whole King's versus UCL thing became a full-blown pissing contest with political and religious tensions reaching a boiling point.
A prime example of this tension was the duel fought between the Duke of Wellington, a supporter of King's, and the Earl of Winchelsea.
Can you believe these asshats actually dueled over this shit? Like, seriously, step away from the fucking powder kegs, gentlemen.
Well, the duel was sparked by Winchelsea accusing Wellington of hypocrisy for supporting both Catholic rights and the independence of King's College London. He saw it as a betrayal of Anglican values.
So Wellington was basically saying, hey, I can fight for Catholics and a more inclusive university at the same time. What's the big fucking deal?
Essentially, the duel itself was a rather anticlimactic affair. Winchelsea chose not to fire, and Wellington, known for his terrible aim, intentionally missed. Honor was satisfied, and Winchelsea issued a written apology.
What a bunch of fucking drama queens. But hey, I guess that's how they settled their differences back then.
It definitely speaks to the passionate and sometimes absurd beginnings of King's College London.
Okay, so King's is up and running, founded on God and good old-fashioned Tory bullshit. What happens next?
King's College London officially opened its doors in October 1831. With William Otter, a prominent cleric, as its first principal. The opening ceremony was a grand affair presided over by the Archbishop of Canterbury, further solidifying the institution's religious roots.
So they were serious about that whole God-fearing thing. But tell me, was it all just Bible-thumping and fire and brimstone, or did they actually teach anything useful?
The college was initially divided into a senior and a junior department. The junior department would later become King's College School. It started with only 85 pupils and 3 teachers crammed into the basement of the Strand campus.
Talk about humble beginnings. You think your commute sucks.
Indeed. But it quickly gained popularity and grew to over 500 students in just a decade.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You can only cram so many hormonal teenagers into a basement before things get messy. What about the senior department? What were they teaching those lucky bastards?
They offered a surprisingly diverse range of courses, including divinity, classical languages, mathematics, English literature, history, medicine, law, and even fencing.
Fencing? Well, I guess those posh pricks needed to know how to properly skewer each other if another duel broke out. But seriously, that's a pretty broad spectrum for the time.
It was. It reflects the growing demand for a wider range of skills in a rapidly changing society.
Right, because dueling skills only get you so far in life. But hold on, how did these students get their degrees? King's wasn't a real university yet, was it?
That's right. In the early years, neither King's UCL nor the various medical schools in London could actually grant degrees. This led to the establishment of the University of London in 1836 as an examining board to standardize degrees across these institutions. King's and UCL became affiliated colleges, and King's students received their first University of London degrees in 1839.
So basically, the University of London was like the older brother who had the authority to hand out the diplomas, while King's and UCL were still figuring their shit out.
A simplified analogy, but it captures the essence.
Now, you can't have a real university without a hospital to practice all that medical voodoo.
Yeah.
Tell me about King's foray into the world of blood and guts.
In 1840, King's College Hospital opened its doors on Portugal Street near Lincoln's Inn Fields. This area was known as a poverty-stricken slum rife with disease. Quite the trial by fire for those aspiring doctors.
Yeah, I bet they saw some fucked up shit down there.
Indeed. And the appointment of Joseph Lister as professor of clinical surgery in 1877 revolutionized the hospital. Lister, a pioneer of antiseptic surgery, introduced methods that dramatically reduced post-operative infections and deaths.
Antiseptic surgery, the OG hand sanitizer, am I right? Before that, surviving surgery was basically a coin toss.
Lister's work was truly transformative, and beyond medicine, King's also pioneered adult education by being the first institution in London to offer evening classes in 1855.
Evening classes. So even back then, people were hustling after work to improve their skills. Always got to be learning, even if it means missing out on a pint at the pub.
That's the spirit. These evening classes gave working Londoners access to higher education and opportunities to advance their careers.
All right, let's fast forward a bit. Did King's finally get tired of being under the University of London's thumb? Did they break free and forge their own path?
The King's College London Act of 1882 brought about some significant changes. It removed the college's for-profit status, even though they hadn't paid out dividends in over 50 years. It officially changed their name to King's College London, and most importantly, it granted them more autonomy.
Sounds like they were finally growing some balls.
Uh-huh.
Did they start handing out their own degrees?
Not quite yet, but the 1882 Act paved the way for a major step towards inclusivity, the education of women.
Oh shit, the ladies are finally allowed in the club. About damn time. Tell me they at least got their own building and not another basement dungeon.
The Ladies' Department of King's College London was established in 1885, housed in Kensington Square.
Kensington Square, not too shabby. All right, so the 19th century was a wild ride for King's. Religious drama duels, a hospital that could have doubled as a horror movie set. And finally, the acceptance of women. What's next for this up-and-coming institution? Did the 20th century bring more chaos, or did things finally settle down?
Well, if you thought dueling over religion was dramatic, just wait until you hear about what went down in the world of science.
Oh, now this sounds juicy. All right, folks, we're going to grab another beer and let those scandalous tidbits simmer. We'll be back in a flash to dive into the 20th century, and trust me, you won't want to miss this.
Welcome back, you degenerates. Ready for round 2 of our King's College London beatdown.
Hell yeah. Last we left off, things were getting interesting with women finally gracing the hallowed halls of King's Mugs. What happened next? Did they take over the fencing classes and start challenging those pompous assholes to duels?
Not quite, though. I wouldn't put it past them. The early 20th century brought some significant changes to King's relationship with the University of London.
Ah, yes, that whole Big Brother situation. So did they finally cut the cord and become a real independent university?
In a way, yes. The King's College London Act of 1903 was a game changer. It abolished all religious tests for staff except within the theological department, opening the institution up to a wider range of academics. Then in 1910, with the exception of that same theological department, King's was officially merged into the University of London.
Wait, so they fought to get more independence only to get swallowed whole by the University of London. Talk about a fucked up relationship.
It was a complex situation. While King's technically lost its legal independence with this merger, it gained access to greater resources and recognition as part of a larger, more prestigious university.
Okay, so it's like finally moving in with your partner after years of dating, only to realize they snore like a goddamn walrus. You gain some, you lose some. So what's next on the King's College London roller coaster? World wars, economic depressions, student protests? They must have seen some shit go down.
The 20th century was a turbulent time for everyone, and King's was no exception. During World War I, like many institutions, King's experienced a drop in male student enrollment as young men went off to fight. This also marked a turning point for the college. For the first time, women were admitted to the medical school.
Well, it's about damn time. I guess even war can have a silver lining. So ladies are studying medicine, the men are off fighting, and King's is doing its part in the war effort. What else happened during this era?
From 1916 to 1921, the Department of Italian was headed by a woman, Linetta de Castelvecchio, a notable achievement in a time when female academics were still a rarity.
Right on. Breaking down barriers, one Italian lesson at a time. Did King's manage to keep its doors open during the war, or did they have to shut down operations?
They managed to stay open, but the war took its toll. After the war ended, there was a surge in student numbers, putting a strain on the existing facilities. It got so cramped that some classes were held in the principal's house.
Can you imagine trying to explain trigonometry while dodging requests for tea and biscuits?
I can only imagine. But the relative peace and growth of the post-war period didn't last. World War II plunged the world back into chaos, and King's, like the rest of London, found itself on the front lines.
Ah, shit, here we go again. What role did King's play in round two?
The college buildings were repurposed for the war effort, serving as a base for the auxiliary fire service. Many staff members became fire watchers, risking their lives to protect the historic structures from the Blitz.
Those Luftwaffe bastards didn't give a damn about historical landmarks. Did King sustain much damage?
Sadly, yes. Parts of the Strand building, the quadrangle, and even the chapel's stained glass windows were damaged or destroyed.
What a damn shame. But hey, at least they survived, right?
They did, and the post-war reconstruction saw the damaged areas rebuilt and expanded. The vaults beneath the quadrangle were replaced with a new two-story laboratory, a sign of the growing importance of scientific research in the post-war world.
Makes sense. After 2 world wars and the threat of nuclear annihilation, people were probably thinking, maybe science can solve some of this shit.
Precisely. And speaking of science, this is where things get really interesting. King's College London played a pivotal role in one of the most significant scientific discoveries of the 20th century, the structure of DNA.
Holy shit. DNA, the blueprint of life itself. Tell me more, I'm all ears.
In 1953, researchers at King's Maurice Wilkins and Rosalind Franklin made groundbreaking contributions to the discovery of DNA's double helix structure. Their work, particularly Franklin's X-ray diffraction images, provided crucial evidence that James Watson and Francis Crick needed to build their now famous model of DNA.
This shit is the foundation of modern biology, for fuck's sake. So King's was at the forefront of this monumental discovery.
Absolutely. While Watson and Crick often received the lion's share of the credit, the work done at King's was essential. This discovery wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a paradigm shift. Suddenly, we had a visual representation of the building blocks of life, the code that determines our traits and predispositions.
So this was way more than just some boring science project. This shit had real-world implications.
Exactly. The discovery of the double helix structure opened up entirely new avenues for research and understanding. It revolutionized fields like genetics, medicine, and biotechnology. It led to advancements in gene therapy, disease diagnosis, and forensic science. It even helped us understand our evolutionary history better.
Damn, those researchers at King's were onto something big. Did this discovery change life at King's? Did they get more funding, more prestige? Did they finally break free from the University of London?
The discovery certainly enhanced King's reputation as a leading research institution. And while they didn't immediately break free from the University of London, the seeds of independence were definitely sown. The Robbins Report on Higher Education in 1966 sparked a wave of expansion and modernization across British universities, including King's.
Sounds like things are starting to heat up. Did they finally get their own digs?
They did.
Yeah.
A new block facing the Strand, designed by E.D. Jeffers Matthews, was opened in 1972. It was a symbol of the college's ambitions. And finally, in 1980, King's College London regained its legal independence under a new royal charter.
Boom. Freedom at last. No more sharing a bathroom with the University of London. So, with independence under their belt, what did King's do next? Did they just rest on their laurels and bask in the glory of DNA?
Not at all. The late 20th century was a period of remarkable growth and consolidation for King's. They embarked on a series of strategic mergers with other institutions, expanding their academic reach and influence.
Mergers, so like academic empire building. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this power grab.
Think of it more as a strategic alignment of forces.
Sure, that's what they all say. But seriously, who did they absorb into the King's Collective?
First, in 1983, they reincorporated the King's College School of Medicine and Dentistry, which had become independent after the establishment of the National Health Service in 1948.
Right, bringing the medical crew back into the fold. Who else got snatched up?
Next came the mergers with Queen Elizabeth College and Chelsea College in 1985, followed by the Institute of Psychiatry in 1997.
Damn King's is like the Pac-Man of higher education, gobbling up everything in sight. But wait, they already had a medical school? What's with merging with even more medical institutions?
These mergers weren't about redundancy, but rather about creating a comprehensive, world-leading center for medical education and research. In 1998, the United Medical and Dental Schools of Guy's and St. Thomas's Hospitals, two prestigious institutions with long and distinguished histories, also merged with King's.
Holy shit. So now they've got this mega medical powerhouse under their control. What do they call this Frankenstein's monster of medical education?
The GKT School of Medical Education, a name that reflects the combined heritage of Guy's, King's, and St. Thomas's hospitals. And as if that wasn't enough, that same year, Florence Nightingale's original training school for nurses also merged with King's Department of Nursing Studies to become the Florence Nightingale School of Nursing and Midwifery.
Florence fucking Nightingale, the OG of badass nurses. King's is pulling out all the stops. But with all these mergers and expansions, where the hell were they putting all these students and staff? Did they start building skyscrapers?
Not quite skyscrapers, but they certainly needed more space. In 1998, King's acquired a rather impressive piece of real estate, the former Public Record Office building on Chancery Lane.
Sounds fancy. What did they do with that prime piece of London property? Turn it into a luxury dorm for trust fund babies.
They had grander plans. This historic building underwent a $35 million transformation and reopened in 2002 as the Moen Library, a stunning testament to the importance of knowledge and learning.
All right, so they're merging with everyone, building fancy libraries, and basically becoming the academic equivalent of a Fortune 500 company. What happens in the 21st century? Did they finally conquer the world of higher education?
Well, they certainly made their mark on the 21st century, but it wasn't without its challenges and controversies.
Ooh, this I gotta hear. All right, folks, hold on to your asses, because we're about to dive into the wild world of 21st century academia. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with the final chapter of our King's College London saga. All right, you intellectual fuckwits, we're back for the final round of our King's College London beatdown. Last we left off, they were on a roll. Merging, expanding, building a goddamn library that probably cost more than my entire neighborhood. So what happened next? Did the 21st century bring them even more world domination, or did they finally stumble and fall?
The 21st century saw King's solidify its position as a global powerhouse in education and research. It continued to expand both physically and academically, attracting top students and scholars from all over the world.
So basically, they went full-on elite university mode.
Yep.
Did they finally get their acceptance letter to Hogwarts?
They certainly earned their place among the top universities worldwide, but they also faced challenges, particularly regarding student fees and access for underprivileged students.
Yes, the age-old dilemma. Money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah.
So how did King's handle this whole student fee fiasco? Did they just become a playground for the rich and famous?
It's a complex issue. While King's does have a significant endowment and attracts many wealthy students, they've also implemented various scholarships and financial aid programs to try and level the playing field. But it's an ongoing battle as the cost of education keeps rising.
Right, because education shouldn't just be a luxury for those trust fund babies. So while they were wrestling with student fees, what else were they up to in the 21st century? Any more groundbreaking discoveries, Nobel Prizes?
Or duels with disgruntled earls.
No duels, thankfully.
Yeah.
But they've continued to excel in research across various disciplines, from the humanities to the sciences. In 2006, King's reached a major milestone. They were granted degree-awarding powers in their own right by the Privy Council.
Holy shit, they finally got rid of the middleman. No more begging the University of London for a diploma.
Exactly. This is a significant step in their evolution as an independent institution. So did they immediately ditch the University of London and start handing out King's branded diplomas, like Oprah giving away cars?
They took a more measured approach. They announced that students starting in 2007 onward would receive degrees conferred by King's itself rather than by the University of London. But the new certificates still acknowledged that King's was a constituent college of the University of London, maintaining that connection.
Okay, so it wasn't a clean break, but a step in the right direction. I guess some traditions die hard. What about the students? What's the vibe like at King's these days? Is it all stuffy libraries and pretentious debates, or do they let loose and have some fun?
King's has a vibrant student life with over 300 clubs and societies, covering a wide range of interests, from sports and music to politics and activism. They have a strong student union, KCLSU, which claims to be the oldest in England.
The oldest student union in England. I bet those walls could talk. Tales of drunken debauchery, scandalous affairs, and maybe even a riot or two.
Well, they've certainly had their fair share of controversy and excitement. But beyond the parties and protests, King's students are also engaged in serious academic pursuits and make valuable contributions to the community.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's still a university, even with all the historical drama and student shenanigans. So what's the final verdict on King's College London? Is it just another overpriced factory churning out graduates? Or is there something more to this place?
King's College London is a complex and fascinating institution with a rich and often contradictory history. From its controversial founding as a bastion of tradition to its emergence as a global leader in education and research, King's has constantly evolved and adapted.
So what does this all mean?
It means that King's College London is more than just a name on a diploma or a fancy building on the Thames. It's a testament to the power of knowledge, the importance of critical thinking, and the enduring impact of human curiosity and ambition.
Damn, that's deep. And I thought we were just here to rip on these stuffy institutions.
Well, we certainly uncovered some interesting stories along the way.
We did. Duel's DNA, Florence Nightingale merging with half of London. Who knew higher education could be so goddamn entertaining? So to all you listeners out there, next time you hear someone jerking off over a fancy university, remember, there's always more to the story. Dig a little deeper. You might be surprised at what you find. And with that, we're signing off. Go forth and learn some shit. And get the fuck off my lawn.